How's it going, everyone? James Lynch here for Odds Checker US, taking a look at Saturday's UFC Vegas 34 main card. And this is going to be taking place at the UFC Apex in Las Vegas, so a smaller cage. And the main card that is going to be starting at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Time. So depending on where you live, you can look up the time, but I'm going to get off the screen here. There you see it, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. The prelims actually start at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific, in case you're wondering. Let's start with the first fight on the main card. A newcomer, Mana Martinez, taking on Trevin Jones. And right now, Mana Martinez, a bit of an underdog coming into this one in a lot of books right now. Trevin Jones being the favorite. And we'll get into why that is. Martinez, 25 years old compared to 31 for Trevin Jones. He's 5'10" compared to 5'7", and a 70-inch reach for both fighters. Now, Mana Martinez, if you guys remember, if that name sounds familiar, he fought in Dana White's Contender Series last year and ended up losing to Draco Rodriguez. If we go back here, ended up losing in the first round. But since then, he's racked up 2 straight wins. And that last win at Fury FC 46 back in May was what got him a UFC contract. Now, he's supposed to fight Jesse Strader. Trevin Jones steps in. Trevin Jones just needs a fight. He's had some bad luck lately in terms of getting a fight here. We're going to look into that. So Trevin Jones was supposed to schedule to fight Tony Kelly. Tony Kelly pulls out of that fight due to an injury. And then he fights Ronnie Lawrence, and Ronnie Lawrence has a bad weight cut, so he's out of the fight as well. So going to be coming into this fight looking to build off that knockout win over Mario Batista and taking on Mana Martinez. Trevin Jones is the favorite. Totally understand why a lot more UFC fights and not making his debut. Interesting thing with Mana Martinez, a lot of finishes, much like his teammate Adrian Yanez. In fact, if you watch Yanez's last fight against Randy Costa, you'll see Mana in the corner there. So already has sort of that UFC feel, being in the corner of Adrian Yanez, one of the best bantamweights right now in the UFC. So interesting fight here to kick off the main card and should be a contender for fight of the night. Let's go to the second fight on the main card. We've got Alexander Pantoja taking on Brandon Royval. Alexander Pantoja actually has 2 wins over the current flyweight champion Brandon Moreno. And who is Brandon Royval's last opponent? Brandon Moreno. So interesting there that Pantoja has 2 wins over the last opponent to defeat Brandon Royval. Let's look at the tail of the tape here. Pantoja, 31 years old, 5'5", with a 68-inch reach, taking on Brandon Royval, who's 5'9" with a 70.5-inch reach. So it is Brandon Royval with the height and reach advantage, even though Alexander Pantoja is the betting favorite in this fight. Pantoja, like I mentioned there, has wins over Moreno. Also has a couple nice wins over Manel Cape, Matt Schnell, Wilson Hayes. This guy is looked pretty solid overall. Just a couple losses, but one is to Pecoraro, who's the former flyweight champ, and Askar Askarov, who's last time I checked still undefeated. So not a bad loss to have on the record as well. Rightful favorite in this fight, in my opinion. Brandon Royval, I mentioned the Brandon Moreno fight. He ended up losing that fight, but it was because of a shoulder injury. So he hasn't fought since November of last year, but he's all healthy and ready to go. He picked up 2 straight wins last year after making his debut in May of last year, getting submission victories over Tim Elliott and Kai Kara France. Here's the thing, Brandon Royval's got a great ground game. Alexander Pantoja, very tough to submit. So that's where things get interesting if it does hit the mat, seeing how this fight will unfold. But Pantoja the favorite in this fight. Let's keep it going here. We've got an interesting fight in the lightweight division. Vince Pichel versus Austin Hubbard. Interesting thing about Vince Pichel for this fight, he did switch up his training camp to Factory X in Colorado. So change of scenery there. He is training at Elevation as well. And where does Austin Hubbard train? Also in Colorado at a rival gym at Elevation Fight Team. Same gym as Justin Gaethje and Curtis Blades and so many other great fighters in that weight class. The big thing here is Vince Pichel, 38 years old. That's why I think the odds are pretty close in this fight. They're about to pick him right now. Vince Pichel, a lot older at 38. He's 5'10" with the 72-inch reach, taking on Austin Hubbard, who's 5'10" with the 71-inch reach. But Austin Hubbard, 29 years old. So a big gap there in terms of age. But Vince Pichel, I would argue, has fought the better competition, which I think is why he's the slight favorite in this fight. But great fight to kick off or to continue the main card. Let's go to the only heavyweight fight on the main card, Chase Sherman and Parker Porter. Chase Sherman, interesting thing with him, he also switched camps. He's now at the prestigious Sanford MMA camp in Florida, so getting to work with a lot of bodies over there. Chase Sherman, we look at the tail of the tape here, 31 years old compared to 36 for Parker Porter, 6'4" to 6 feet tall, 78 to 75. You see why Chase Sherman is a favorite here. Really good opportunity here for him to bounce back after that loss against Andrei Arlovsky, which I did an interview with Chase. He mentioned that he actually tore his ACL prior to that fight against Arlovsky, so we'll see how he performs against a guy in Parker Porter, who is coming off a nice UFC win over Josh Parisian in his last fight. So it should be an interesting fight on the main card. The co-main event, Clay Guida, Marco Madsen, 2 guys who aren't afraid to push the pace here. The big sort of glaring thing here, and Guida, by the way, is the underdog, is the experience. Clay Guida, 36-20 record. Marco Madsen, just 10 wins. And not that different in age here. Clay Guida, 39 years old. Marco Madsen, 36. 5'7" to 5'8", 70 to 72. Should be interesting, especially with the wrestling in this one. Marco Madsen, an Olympic level wrestler, as it says there in his nickname, the Olympian. So we'll see if Clay Guida is able to deal with that wrestling. But Guida trains at a really good wrestling camp at Team Alpha Male. So we'll see how that fight unfolds as well. And then let's get to the main event. Awesome fight in the middleweight division. Could have some implications for the title picture here, as we got Jared Cannonier taking on Calvin Gastelum. Cannonier, slight favorite in this one, almost a 2-1 favorite, but the rightful favorite in this fight here. Jared Cannonier, 37 years old compared to 29 for Gastelum. 5'11" compared to 5'9", and 77.5 for Cannonier to 71.5 for Gastelum. So Cannonier, the favorite for a variety of reasons, but, you know, a little bit bigger in this fight. Cannonier used to fight at heavyweight, and he's fighting a guy in Gastelum who used to fight at welterweight. So keep that in mind as well for this fight. Gastelum on a bit of a skid right now, losing 4 of his last 5 fights. Cannonier coming off that loss to Robert Whitaker, where he broke his arm in the first round. They actually both fought Robert Whitaker in their last fight, both losing. So both looking to get back on the winning track in this fight. Keep an eye out for my video on the main event where I give my pick in this one. But for now, just a quick preview here. Let's take a look at Cannonier's record. You'll see since going to middleweight, he's actually done quite well. Just the 1 loss to Whitaker. Prior to that, had a 3-fight win streak, including a really impressive win over Jack Hermanson, where he finished Hermanson in the 2nd round. Now, Calvin Gastelum, I mentioned the 4-fight losing streak. He's losing to good guys, right? Adesanya, Till, Hermanson. Although, like I mentioned, Cannonier has a win over Hermanson. Got the 1 win over Ian Heinisch, but outside of that, he is not looked so great. So really must-win situation here for Calvin Gastelum in the main event. So there you go. That is my preview of Saturday's UFC Vegas 34 card. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the Odds Checker US YouTube channel, where you will find my previews, my breakdowns, and my interviews every single week. My name is James Lynch. Thanks so much for watching. Give this video a like. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for watching.